Hey guys, God woke me up at like 7:30 this morning. He's been nudging me to share some of my story, or a testimony of his love and his graciousness. However, if you're looking for the perfect Christian, someone who's a model, outstanding citizen, look elsewhere because I don't think that I'm of anyone of importance, but I also do know that I'm being called to speak about my life experiences, which is really hard to talk about and air out my own life on social media. And who's to say who's really going to watch it? Like, I don't know. I'm not doing this because, I think it's going to grab attention. I think it's important that I think it's important to reach people who are in situations like I am where it's not necessarily a woe is me, like life is hard, but life is hard. And I think we can all acknowledge that. We are living in dark times. It might only get worse from here. But if we can reach people who are actually struggling and not putting on this fake persona of how the world is supposed to look, even in the midst of chaos, I just want to be real with you. In I want to say in 2023, I tried cocaine. And I tried cocaine because I don't know, it was like a rebellion against God. It was like, ooh, you know, it was like a test. Like, how God is always testing us and he's always, trying to get into our hearts through experiences. Well, I was not having it at that time. I was like, you know what? I've done everything right. I went to school, got the job, got the apartment at 19 years old. I had my career ahead of me. I didn't drive at the time, but I had everything, and I did everything right according to how you're supposed to set yourself up for life. I had money, I was good. But inside my heart, I was the most miserable person. I I have a chemical imbalance in the brain, which trauma that unfolded in my lifetime has brought out the bipolar in me that I knew I probably should have been diagnosed with when I was 16. However, I digress. We don't need to get into all the trauma. I mean, if God wants me to, we will do it. But right now, I don't want to overwhelm people with my life story. However, the reason why, I don't know why. Actually, I don't even know why God wants me to broadcast that I've done drugs. Um, I'm not addicted. I don't do it anymore. I think I've done it 5 times. Um, but I did it because I wanted to say, like, hey, God, if I make a mistake, are you actually going to love me? Are you actually going to be there? Because I feel like I've done my life right. I've done everything according to the law, the rules, the regulations, the religious aspect. I've done everything right. Yet, I'm not married, don't have a spouse, don't have a career. Like, I think I was getting into a career that I was excited about. So that was working for me. And I did drive. I do drive. So like things were unfolding for me in the midst of chaos years ago. But at this particular moment in time in my life, I was watching everyone else around me. People who didn't believe in God, people who mocked God, people who mocked me for believing in God and saying like, "Oh, she's a religious person," and like I I used to get so offended when someone said I was religious because to me, like, religion is rules, regulations, abiding by certain principles, doing the right thing. And that's been programmed in my head since I was a kid. Like, my father used to put me on a pedestal, and I felt like I had to live up to that expectation of perfectionism. And in the end, I'm here to say, hello, that's not how it works. So if you're struggling with perfectionism, and you're living your life like according to rules and regulations and your life is still empty, hi, hello, my name is Amy and I struggle with the same thing. But personally, I think that the reason why it's important to talk about these things is because God speaks to us differently. And like I was saying, I was watching people around me getting engaged, finding their spouse, um, becoming step parents or becoming parents of their own or are already parents of their own. And I was longing for this, like longing. I was like, this is what I want so bad. And I don't know if that's just because the care, like I'm nurturing, I like to take care of people. But at the same time it's like, was I wanting this because, you know, I wanted to fill like something that I felt like God can only fill. And even now, I still look for these external validations. But at the same time, it's like at that time of my life, I was testing God. And I know you're going to say you shouldn't test God. But I wanted to know, like, is Jesus going to love me if I make this mistake? And if I do something so stupid, which I'm not saying if you do, if you use if you use recreational drugs, am I saying you're stupid? No. But I felt like I was doing something that I shouldn't be doing, and I wanted to test God. And in the end, has God truly turned his back on me? No, he hasn't. He helped me move across the country. He helped me find my inner voice. He helped me find my inner strength. And through that, I learned, because in my past, I went through some things and I had to truly face adversity being alone. And even still, I still feel alone, but I don't know, I feel like God handpicked people throughout my life to kind of show me like who I am, because I'm definitely someone, when I fall in love with somebody, like a friend, dating, whatever, I tend to like idolize them. I think, oh, because I meet people who are so sure of themselves, and I'm like, holy crap, like they are so comfortable in their own skin that nothing bothers them. Like, I mean, they do, if it does, they they do a good job of showing that it doesn't. But I was like in awe, and I get in awe of people. And when I love people, I'm like really intrigued by their personality. And I think in these instances, that is where I learned that I'm not studying who I am. Like, I don't know. I don't, even now, like, I'm like, who the hell is Amy? Like, because I put myself in different boxes of like, okay, I'm nurturing. Okay, I'm bipolar. Okay, I have these moods, which I am diagnosed with bipolar. But there's like so many aspects of me that in my therapy, and my therapist said, like, you're all of these things, and let's figure out who the heck Amy is. So I don't know. This video is already getting too long, but I just want to say, doesn't matter how far you run from God. This is something personally, like, it doesn't matter how far away you're running from God. Like, you could be like, I'm running, like, I'm so far away from God, I'm gonna be, choosing my own path and doing my own thing. But then you get in front of the door and you realize he's already the one opening the door for you. Like, he's already ahead of you because he knows your next move, which is kind of funny. But no, I personally feel like when you give your life to Jesus, he calls on your heart. He will tug on your heart. And people think like, oh, you can lose your salvation. But at the same time, like I have said to God before, God, I don't deserve you. I don't deserve an ounce of your forgiveness, your love, anything. But he still chases after my heart. And if he can still chase after my heart, someone who's been lost for years, like I gave my life to Christ when I was 16, but like someone who's been lost their whole life, looking for meaning, looking for purpose, I'm telling you, Jesus will always grab your heart and say, hold my hand, and he will lead you out of the darkness. So I hope if you're watching this, gives you a little bit of hope. I'm not trying to out myself on the internet, but I don't know. This is just something that came up for me, and I hope if you're watching this, you know that there are people out there who love Jesus who do not have the proper etiquette. But I don't know. I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be. And a lot of people think that I do because I have high expectations of myself. And that's where people think, oh, well, you have high expectations of yourself, you have high expectation of others. Not necessarily true, but yeah, I'm just a girly trying to walk with Jesus. And this is my first attempt to talk about my personal life. So, yeah, thank you for watching, and I love you, and God is watching over you. And if you're watching this, He's calling your heart, He's pulling on your heartstrings to say, hey, come as you are. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.